Today we're talking about one of my greatest ever shots, and I took it on the third day of my career. I'm pretty proud of this shot. I took this on my third day of shooting in Melbourne 2017 at Turn 6. So how did the picture come about? Let me explain. For a start, I was raw, but I'd seen a similar shot by another photographer, a Melbourne guy, one of the newspaper photographers, and I said, "Where'd you take that?" He said, "Turn 6. But they only do it on the first couple of laps. It's only the Red Bulls and sometimes the Force Indias back then." Armed with that information and very little experience, I headed out to Turn 6. This was on the Saturday. It must have been the morning practice session. Thankfully it was overcast, and that helps when you're doing sparking shots. You want a bit of darkness because then obviously the sparks stand out. I was standing behind wire fencing. Now that was one of the first times I realised that you can shoot through the wire. So the wire gaps are, what is that, 10 square centimetres. With a 600mm lens, you don't even see the crisscross wiring in front of you. So first couple of laps, Max comes around, bang, this is what happens. But this wasn't my first pick. This was my first pick, and this was a little later after the second pick. So I got some good shots. I shot lots of images. I must tell you, most of them out of focus, because I'm shooting here at 1/80th of a second. And it's not that easy to keep things sharp at that low shutter speed. So let's go back to the shot itself. By the way, here's Esteban Ocon also doing the same, but not with the same degree of magnificence hanging out of the back of the car. And this is another shot of Ocon. But if we go back to my original image, what I want to do for you here on the computer is show you what this looked like without any editing. This is the unedited version of that great photo. Now, I'll tell you what I did to get it to the end stage. First of all, I cropped in a little bit because you don't need that rubbish on the right, and you certainly don't need that Pirelli sign above. So I cropped it. I rotated it just a smidge so I could get the maximum amount of real estate in there, slid it up. That's my frame. I could probably go a little bit less down below, but let's leave it like that. Then I bump up the shadows, take down the highlights, bump up the whites, take down the blacks a little, give it a bit more clarity, a little bit of dehazing, bump the vibrance up a little bit, and probably the colours. It's a little dark as we see it now, so I bump that up a little bit here. I might put a vignette on it. In fact, if I wanted to, I could go and press M in Lightroom and just go and bring up this, which is a graduated filter. Just make it a little bit darker because I want everyone's attention fully on the car. So full screen, am I happy with that? Yeah, I am happy with that. And this is back in the days where there were no halos, so it's a much better shot. An 80th of a second, by the way, means you get long sparks. If I was shooting at a 2000th of a second, you'd get very small dots. It's not anywhere near as nice a picture as if you get these elongated shafts of light. So if I go and press previous, it will put the same processing on as I did for my previous shot. That's maybe a little bit wide, so I might zoom in here and get rid of that sign, which is in the top right hand corner, and I might end up taking a bit of that out as well. So I'd get more of a square shot, but as you can see, there are no breaks, or there's no white smoke coming from his left-hand front wheel in this shot, whereas if you go back to this shot, there is plenty. And that's the end shot that I ended up going with, which I've punched up a little bit more and given it a bit more drama by putting on here a greater degree of vignetting around it and darken the front. So not a great deal of work done to it, and probably in essence, if that was on a Saturday, I would spend maybe, because it's a great photo, probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes editing. Yes, I could take it back to my office and get my guys to work on it here, my graphics guys, but that's going to be some time, and I'm not sure just how much better a picture it's going to be and how accurate it would be to what I saw, because it's not like I'm going to go in there and change the signage to red, change this bit on the left here to blue. I want it to be an accurate representation of what I saw. Certainly someone like a Getty Images, they can't go and do too much to a photo because they've got to represent what's been seen. And then if I click forward here, this is Max Verstappen signing that picture a few races later. And what I did was I approached Max as he was heading from the garage in China back to the motorhome. Well, actually, not a motorhome there, it's a beautiful purpose-built 2-story building. And as I went back, I just gave him a copy of my business card, which had that particular photo on it. And then I get an email in about an hour from his press guy saying, Max would very much like a copy of that. Is that possible? Yes, it is. So I had some printed. I took it to Bahrain with me, and this is where I presented him an A3 or an A2 for him, and I kept my shot signed by him. And I always like when I get a driver who likes a picture and who's happy to sign it, to write something on there. So he wrote, I've no idea what happened here. What he did love was the fact that we had both the tyres smoking with smoke, and we had the sparks out the back. So I believe that picture is now hung in Max's Monaco apartment. That's how I took the shot. Well, could I get it again? Yes, maybe. If it's dark, if I'm out at turn 6, if the cars are heavy, because they only do it on the first couple of laps out, and if I manage to get a sharp shot. And if I'd shot at, say, a 20th of a second, those lines, if we go back to the picture, the main picture here, those lines would be quite long. At an 80th, they're that long. So if you go down to a 20th, you're probably going to get this magnificent shower, and it's almost going to be whited out completely. So that's one of my best picks. I've told you how to do it. Can you get the shot? Yeah, you might be able to. There's an opportunity to stand a little bit further behind in the general public area, although at that distance from the wire fence, I think you'd probably get wire in the way. Anyway, I'll be going back again to turn 6 in Melbourne next year to see if I can emulate that shot again. Remember to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. You can purchase any of my digital images, including this one, at prostarpics.com. For podcasts and videos, head to kimellman.com. And for YouTube, remember to search Kim Ellman. Thanks for watching and stay passionate.